successful in the recovery process. So if we are really going to represent the community, because we throw out the whole, people, little kids got to see people shooting up, that, and that's valid to say, right? But what about the little kid who's going home to a parent who's struggling with drug addiction, who won't go get the help because of all the stigma that's attached to going to get help and going to a drug program? So there's really a need to change the narrative. So we're really going to work, sincerely to re-articulate, what we want to see in the moratorium, something that does represent every community member, because and just with that, I'll be quiet after this. I want to thank, everyone who encouraged me after that presentation. And specifically, I want to thank those community board members who felt safe enough to disclose their own lived experiences with family members and other people they know who have went through. It's important that we think about that. East Harlem don't belong to one or two of us. This is not our land. This is all of our land, and we got to represent everybody who lives here now, currently, who's receiving services here. So I'll be quiet with that so we could get off the line, but definitely go back and watch the presentation and come to Human Services Committee if you really feel some type of way. If you don't, then, please don't hold up anything,
Isaac, thank you very much. And I appreciate our last lunch we had where we got to share a lot of personal stuff. So we keep leaning in that we're going to find solutions by leaning in together. So thank you. And please look forward to seeing the next draft of the moratorium for human services. I look forward to Marlene and everyone sharing that. I'm going to get us going. It is 9:20 and we have youth and education, then economic development, which each have an action item each. And then executive has 2, and I will bundle those as well. So youth and education.
Good evening, all. Before again, I just want to acknowledge that I'm very proud of Reverend Scott, and as somebody said, teach. And I think that was an important teachable moment, that we forget or not forget the human side of people who are struggling, no matter through mental illness, addiction, or anything else, that we must remember to have compassion and empathy for these people as we support them in their process. So Reverend Scott, it's been nice watching you for the last 30 years. Didn't see you in between, but from 30 years ago to today, nice to watch you grow into a beautiful young man who has empathy for the community and for the people in it. And I think right now you're the right person to help guide us through this challenge with the substance abuse issues and concerns in this community. So I commend you, and I do say attend the meetings. You don't have to be a member to attend meetings, but it helps educate you. So with that said, we had 2 wonderful presentations. One that was mentioned earlier, graphics, which I have to also commend Michelle Wilshire, as so eloquently presented, the presenter who himself probably wouldn't have presented himself in that manner. But us 2 had a wonderful presentation by graphics, Dr. Guy Smith, and we've asked them to return. We had a lot of healthy discussion and around what our community needs and what's important, how we also, let me say the correct word, how we assign certain, it ties into what Reverend Scott was talking about before, is how we label people. And it's really important to remember that while we may label somebody, there is somebody else behind the label, and we must remember that. So one of the things, like Dr. Smith, is that I pride myself in working with the children that are most challenging or need us the most. And I think sometimes we get confused when we express things in a way or use certain language that may be offensive to other people. And sometimes we have to have discussion and talk those things out. So I would just say this, and I know Asher wants to raise something. Particularly, I was going to defer most of the conversation around graphics until next month when we come back and have a further discussion. He is asking for a letter of support, but I think he's asking for a little bit more. I think he's asking for an endorsement of his program. He wants us to see the results and the outcomes that he is able to offer, and to help really promote his program beyond just serving East Harlem, but really serving the city at a larger capacity. I have overlap. Dr. Smith in other capacities. Didn't really know him in that sense, but in the overlap of things that we've done together, I've seen positive results. And again, we want to find ways to support him. One of the members, Rosa Diaz, did offer space so he can conduct the after-school program. Xavier and hopefully another member from the Youth and Education can attend the function on Thursday, in which he's going to speak to a school and talk about the work that he wants to do at that school. So with all that said, Asher, is there anything else you want to raise about that? Because I'd rather have more of that discussion next month when we do the vote and really talk about one of the things that we do have before us in terms of for a letter of support.
I'll wait till next month. It's fine, because I
You
know we're
sure?
running late.
Is there
Yeah,
anything
it's
you
fine.
want to say to get people thinking? I think everybody should look up graphics because I'm sure there will be a healthy discussion. He is going to all the community boards, and he said he's going to try and visit all of our committees. He's already, went out to safety. So anything, Asher, or we'll just table it?
My thing was there was a little bit of concern about where he was gonna get the funding for it. So I think that's just something as we continue to have these discussions to think about that. Because I remember there was a concern brought up that he might be charging the schools to have this program run or something like that. So I think just if we continue to have these conversations, that's
Okay.
it.
I think that is my, David, I'm going to chime in just so we keep things moving along smoothly. I appreciate the empathy and everything more than you know. So I think that's where the committee discussion is where that should be. So your next item, my friend.
So, yeah, I know, Jason, you may have a question, but if you can hold off until we just finished. So we also had a wonderful presentation from River East, River East School on 120th Street, which is between 1st and 2nd Avenue. We had 2 youth from the school, 2 fifth graders, it's an elementary school, present to us about their need for a playground. So this is the kind of the situation that they're in. They have a space that's currently adjacent to their school. Their school was originally a high school and middle school, but does not have the playground facilities that are appropriate for elementary. The kids currently use a park across the street on 120th Street that unfortunately is a Parks Department park and that is open to everybody. Within the park every day, but particularly over the weekends or the warmer weather, when they come to the park, they have to often avoid certain obstacles such as garbage that's left, people that are barbecued. Unfortunately, dog poop is left continuously. They actually put cones over the dog poop so the kids don't step on the dog poop while they're playing. So they've reached out, they've met they've requested through the borough president and also through our councilwoman some funding. I believe that it's 900,000 to offer a playground that's adjacent and connected to the school that they are in that would have appropriate equipment for elementary. But I have to say that it was really so great to hear 2 kids present about their school, the need for play, the need for recreation, and how important this is. And unfortunately, they have a bad experience to the uncleanliness of the park that is left. And again, this is not to blame anybody. Parks does their part as they come in and clean up. They try to make this a priority to get clean. However, it is limited in their ability. So with that said, motion by Rosa Diaz to provide a letter of support for River East Elementary School fundraising campaign to build a playground for students at their school building located at 2351 First Avenue, New York, New York, 1035, 120th Street. The motion was seconded by Claudia Perez and passed unanimously. Again, I just want to reiterate that recreation, and I understand this more now, even being in the school, recreation is so important that it is an academic class. It teaches other kinds of things. Playing is healthy. A couple of weeks ago, 2 months ago, we had a particular place come and talk about how important play is and active play, and kids need opportunities and places to play that are both safe and conducive to their developmental needs. So again, yeah.
David, sorry to interject. I want to be respectful of people's time, and you and I can always talk about this kind of stuff. We're so passionate about it, and I really appreciate your work in the community, but I just want to keep the meeting moving. Definitely everyone, I cannot express enough, go the Youth and Education Committee meeting, the presentation from these little kids. I want to show it to my boys to learn how to present to a committee digitally. So with that, I'm going to move things along. There was a motion. Jason, did you have your hand raised to accept the committee's recommendation, provide a letter of support? Can you
That's correct,
unmute?
Chair.
Okay. Is there a second?
But I see there's a hand up, so I didn't want to, I don't know if the
Eugene, did
if
you have a
the other
question?
individual wanted to ask a question.
Yeah,
I want to
Eugene.
second the motion.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Please call the roll.
Okay, Jose Altamirano,
Yes.
Stephanie Arroyo,
Yes.
April Autry,
Yes.
Adam Briha,
Yes.
Diane Collier,
Yes.
Devon Cronshaw,
Yes.
Kenneth Crouch,
Yes.
Carlos Diaz,
Yes.
Angela Donadell.
Amazing presentation, and yes.
Beautiful. Jessica Elliott,
Yes.
Judith Febrero,
Yes.
Brandon Gillespie,
Yes.
David Giordano,
Yes. Thank you.
John Green,
Absolutely.
Wanda Hopkins,
Yes.
Jewel Jones,
Yes.
Marissa Mack,
Yes.
Giselle Malave.
Yes.
Oh, you got it again. Okay. Malika McCullough. Malik. Okay. Jennifer Mayer,
Yes.
Jessica Morris,
Yes.
Nilsa Orama,
Yes.
Beverly Pabon,
Yes.
Arturo Perez,
Yes.
Asha Rodriguez,
Yes.
Eugene Rodriguez.
Yes, my grandsons go to that school.
Oh, beautiful. Xavier Santiago,
Yes.
Isaac Scott,
Yes.
Russell Schuler,
Yes.
Vincent Torres. What does that mean, Vincent? I'll come back to you, Vincent. Anne Marie Vasquez,
Yes.
Jason Villanueva. Jason,
Yes.
Candy Vives Vasquez,
Yes.
Michelle Wilshire Clement, yes. Jordan Wright,
Yes.
okay, going back. Vincent Torres, no response. And Malik McCullough, no response. That ends the roll call.
The motion carries. David, any final bits before I move on
Yes,
to?
just very quickly, just so everybody knows, youth and education and open space and parks are working together collaboratively to do Earth Day event on the 21st. More information to come, but we want to get that on people's calendars. Please come out and join us. We'll be at the Museum of the City of New York.
Wonderful. Thank you, David. Appreciate you. Okay, moving on. EcoDev and culture, Marissa Mack.
Perfect. Hi, good evening, everyone. So very quickly, we had our standing presentations from Uptown Grand Central and then also Union Settlement. There are 2 events happening this weekend. Just want to highlight quickly. There's a free mammogram screening for women happening on the 25th at La Placita. I'm just encouraging everyone to to have the women in their life go. This is something that's free, needs to be done annually. I actually had my first one this year and had a scare. And so I am very passionate now about letting people know, especially for our community. We just think we go, I'm sorry guys, this is graphic, but just to go to the GYN and that's good. We need to check out everything going on with us. So please encourage the women on here, please go if you have the opportunity, and or the men, please encourage the women that are in your life to possibly attend this event. Also, Union Settlement is having a East Harlem visioning session, which is actually the same day as well. So encouraging people that are around to go out to attend and weigh in on the way that this area could be and the way that this community could possibly look and feel. So just wanted to push those two items quickly. And then for our committee, we had also 3 different presentations. Jana Lasorte from Parks Department talked about a number of initiatives and events that are happening and taking place. There's also some free space that's available, but again, I would like for everyone to go back and listen to the meeting specifically. Again, so this is high level for the executive meeting, for the full board meeting, excuse me. We also had Start Small, Think Big, who works with a lot of small businesses in terms of marketing, getting your business up and running, things of that nature. They have a number of resources available. Please, again, look at the meeting for further details. And then we did have one item that we voted on, actually a letter of support for Department of City and Cultural Affairs, a proposed project at the 125th Street Library, art installation. And we spoke a little bit about the artist, Diana Shirtmetz. Hopefully I'm saying that right. And she showed us a thorough breakdown of the proposed art installation that will be available. The motion was made by Eugene and then seconded by Jewel, passed unanimously.
Okay, thank you very much for the quick debrief. With that, are there any questions or are these hands to motion? Eugene, you had a question.
Yes, I do. I approve of this. I made the motion to approve it, but I do not understand why you have a 4 or 5 story building and only one artist that's hired to do the work in the building. In the future, whenever these guys come before us, I suggest that we ask for 3, 4, as many artists as possible to contribute. But I do support the motion.
Thank you, Eugene. And I think that was, even for us and us kind of like asking and vetting, we did ask about, the artists being from here. There is a process that, that they went through. So I think that question might also be more so for like the process overall, not just the actual structure, but that is a really good point. And then something for us to consider as we move forward.
Yeah, she said she's from the neighborhood, so I didn't have a problem with that. I just thought more artists should be involved.
Right, where you just don't have one person monopolizing everything. Yeah. Yep. Agreed.
I think there's an opportunity for the committee discussion to stake out positions given a square footage example or based on a case by case, but it gives you parameters. Jason, you're muted.
I know, I'm sorry. I'm not that fast. Motion to support the committee's recommendation.
Okay. A second, Jessica, did you have a second or you want a question? You have a question?
I'd like to enthusiastically second the motion.
Okay. All right, very good. Call the roll, please.
Yes.
Sorry, I was having some technical difficulties. Oh my goodness. Jose Altamirano.
Yes.
Thank you, Jose, for answering twice. Stephanie Arroyo,
Yes.
April Autry,
Yes.
Adem Briha,
Yes.
Jahid Chaudhry, wait a minute, no. Diane Collier,
Yes.
Devon Cronshaw,
Yes.
Kenneth Crouch,
Yes.
Carlos Diaz,
Yes.
Angela Donadell,
Yes.
Jessica Elliott,
Yes.
Judith Febrero,
Yes.
Raja Flores, oops, David Giordano, Brandon Gillespie. Are you still here? Brandon, I'll come back to you. David Giordano,
Yes.
John Green,
Aye.
Wanda Hopkins,
Yes.
Alonzo Johnson is not here. Jewel Jones,
Yes.
Marissa Mack,
Yes.
Giselle Malave,
Yes.
beautiful. Malik McCullough, Jennifer Mayer,
Yes.
Jessica Morris,
Yes.
Nilsa Orama,
Yes.
Beverly Pabon.
Yes.
Beverly, okay.
Yes.
Arturo Perez,
Yes.
okay. Asha Rodriguez, Asha,
Yes.
Eugene Rodriguez,
Yes.
Xavier Santiago,
Yes.
Isaac Scott,
Yes.
Russell Schuler,
Yes.
Vincent Torres.
Yes.
Oh, there you are. Anne Marie Vasquez,
Yes.
Jason Villanueva,
Yes.
Candy Vives
Yes.
Vasquez,
Yes.
beautiful. Michelle Wilcher Clement, yes, me, and Jordan Wright.
Yes.
Circling back to Malik McCullough. Okay, and circling back to Brandon Gillespie. Okay,
Okay.
that ends the roll.
The motion carries. Thank you very much.
Xavier, I just quickly wanted to report that we are also working to get some of our community partners together to do a quick presentation. It will not be open for questions or comments from the public, but more or less presentations back to back from some of the organizations that are working within the community, doing some important work, just so that we know what initiatives are going on. I think we kind of have, different meetings at different times. Some people present at full board, some people at EchoJev, but there are quite a number of projects that are in the pipeline that would be great to be recorded all at once. And so we are in the process for the committee reaching out to those organizations to put something together where it's just like bullet point, like EDC is working on this, DCLA is working on this, public library is doing X, Y, and Z, so that we have a combined area where we know of the projects that are happening and some good things that are happening on the economic side for East Hartford. So thank you.
Thank you, Marissa. Keep us posted. Okay, moving on to executive. Okay, we have two action items. If you please look at the minutes. And what I'm going to say to all of our board members is important to get your minutes in on time so that the entirety of our body can review them, be apprised of all the details. If they have questions, they can follow up with the chair, or failing that, the vice chair of that committee. They can ask those questions, and that way we're more respectful of our time. The work is and always will be done at committee, although I appreciate us all being very effective tonight. I think as I was mentioned at executive committee, all eyes are on us. Many of the community boards have been looking at our model. We have had in the past some meetings that have been very brief, around 2 hours, and they like that. We've gotten compliments from Queens, as was echoed by Michelle Wilcher Clement. Marissa Mack brought up compliments about our website. I've heard positive comments from other chairs and community boards, as well as far north as in the Bronx. So with that being said, we had a fairly lengthy meeting in person. If you want to see the owl go nuts and spin around, you can go watch that. It was hysterical to watch while we were actually participating in the meeting. We had everything else on there, pulling up right quick. We had a presentation by Metropolitan Cab on the Metropolitan Cab Legislative Breakfast. And they were not able to get to human services in time, so they came back to executive, and because they're in the one house budget, and it looks like, as was referred to me by Senator Serrano, and from their indications that they will be delayed past their April 1st, but not long after they're going to actually have the budget passed. So we had executive acting on behalf of the board, passed a position, and we're here to support that. That'll be voted on. And then the last month, in February, executive committee had to act because on behalf of the full board, because the budget committee was not able to get everything completed in time because information was not pushed forward. We did get that action item was dealt with. Nilsa Rama made a motion to adopt the statement on the mayor's preliminary budget for fiscal year 2024. Motion was seconded by John Green and passed unanimously. And then number 12. Is motion by Isaac Scott and seconded by Michelle Wiltshire Clem to support health and hospitals legislative recommendations to 1, repeal the pharmacy carve out for managed care, 2, support from Safety Net Coalition proposal to fund all safety net hospitals, 3, increase Medicaid rates for hospitals by 10%, and 4, set aside $300 million capital health funding specifically for safety net providers. The community board believes that 10% minimum increase in $300 million funding is insufficient given the existing list out and CD11 statement of district need. The motion was approved unanimously. Those are our 2 action items. The other information purposes only, which is the Park Avenue Viaduct project launch update. You can see the minutes. They went into a bit of detail and put on a really nice video. So with that, if there are no questions, Michelle, bunch of hands. Michelle, do you have a question, or were you going to make a motion?
I do not have a question. I would like to make a motion, but also I'd like to know, are you bundling the 2?
Yes, well, I'm going to bundle these 2, so we go through one roll call. One is to ratify number 11, and 12 is to motion to support the committee's recommendation. So Jewel, do you have a question, or were you going to motion?
I'm going to make a motion to second, but I also just want to say that I attended the executive committee meeting. I would like to thank you all for your thoughtful consideration of health and hospitals. As a Met Cab member, I was very thankful for your careful consideration of health and hospitals, and in terms of the budgetary needs. Thank you, and I second the motion.
Okay, well, let me see if there are any questions real quick, and then we'll entertain it. So Jessica, you had a question.
I do, and I'll keep it brief because I see it's 9:45. I understand we're all trying to get on with things. Pertaining to cabs and business that comes then before the board. And I'm delighted to know, Jewel, that you serve on the cab. Getting more information from our anchor institutions in East Harlem, I think is can inform some of the work that we do. So I see this here and I have lots of questions and I want to be able to support it, but I have lots of questions and that's challenging. So to increase communication, is that possible? Is now my question.
So that was something that was discussed at executive. We have a seat on the Metropolitan Cab, and that's Carlos Diaz, and we are in conversations to either have Carlos or Jewel be able to go to Human Services to give updates on that. So we are currently ironing out that process. So that answers your question, I hope. Okay. All right.
Yes, thank you. That's wonderful. Yeah. So there will be an informational update at Human Services from our cabs.
Yeah, that is what we are working on, that pipeline to get that all set up. So that's one of the things we're working on. So just Beverly.
Yes, I went over the I went over the executive committee's meeting in February because you was bringing up the budget, and so I know I was trying to chime in on the budget and stuff like that, but I know for housing, and I'm sorry, John, I wasn't able to talk to you before this. I just want to know that at the February meeting that certain things were not, you wasn't, at that meeting, you was making the, I don't know what it's called, when you're putting your part of the housing into it. And someone was mentioning putting line numbers on it. I just want to know if you did put any line numbers to specify what needs to be done in the, for the housing committee. And if they were, how can I see them? Because I was trying to get some information about the budget, but, I kept missing the meetings, because I'm advocate for the home ownership programs.
Right, I understand. So this was a response to the mayor's preliminary budget for fiscal year 24. That we had a process that was in place last year that flowed very smoothly. This portion, it did not flow as smoothly as we would have preferred. And as a result, we had to issue a response. And we issued a response, and that meeting is public, and the actual response should be on our website, and I'm sure Angel can get it to us. This is to ratify that position. We were out of a runway. We had to take a position or have no comment at all, which is why we met an executive. So that is unfortunately why executive is there, to act on behalf of the board when the board cannot meet, or when another committee cannot take on an action item, et cetera, and so on. So I hope that explains, and we'll see if we can get that pulled up and sent over to you. Okay, Bev?
All right, thank you.
Of course. Okay, I'm presuming those are old hands, so I'm going to now entertain the motion from Michelle Wilshire Clement to support the bundle of 11 and 12. It was seconded by Jewel, correct?
Can I just, a point of clarification though, just that when you mentioned the fact that I sit on the Met Cab, so those of you don't realize, the person that's the CB11 representative on the cab, yes, sits on Health and Human Services. I am not the CB11 rep on the cab. I'm the hospital's rep. So Charlie is the CB11 rep on the cab, on the Met Cab, and that person, technically should be on the Health and Human Services. Just wanted to make that clarification. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. All right, with that, I'd like to call the roll since we have a motion on the table.
Yes, absolutely. Jose Altamirano.
You said yes before me. Yes.
Okay. Stephanie Arroyo.
Yes.
April Autry.
Yes.
Adem Briha.
Yes.
Diane Collier.
Yes.
Devon Cronshaw.
Yes.
Kenneth Crouch.
Yes.
Carlos Diaz.
Yes.
Angela Donadell.
Yes.
Jessica Elliott.
Yes.
Judith Febrero.
Yes.
David Giordano.
Yes.
John Green.
See.
Wanda Hopkins. Wanda.
Yes. Yes, I'm here. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Jewel Jones.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Marissa Mack. Marissa, how do you vote? I'll come back to you. Giselle Malave. I'm looking in the chat. And she has not responded. I'll come back to Giselle. Malik McCullough.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Jennifer Mayer.
Michelle. Oh, sorry.
And who's speaking? This is
Giselle.
And your answer is?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Giselle.
You're
Jennifer
welcome.
Mayer.
Yes.
Jessica Morris.
Yes.
Nilsa Orama.
Yes.
Beverly Pabon.
Yes.
Arturo Perez.
Yes.
Asher Rodriguez. Asher.
Yes.
Okay. Eugene Rodriguez.
Yes.
Xavier Santiago.
Yes.
Isaac Scott.
Yes.
Russell Schuler.
Yes.
Vincent Torres.
Yes.
Anne Marie Vasquez. Jason Villanueva.
Yes.
Candy Vives Vasquez.
Yes.
Michelle Wilshire Clement. Yes, I vote. Jordan Wright.
Yes.
Circling back. Brandon Gillespie. Marissa Mack. And Anne Marie Vasquez. That's it. Roll
Okay,
is complete.
the motion carries. With that, I'm going to move us along because it is 9:52. Thank you for everyone's patience. We now have new business. Any new business? Old business? Presuming that's an old hand, Michelle. I am,
Well, I just wanted to say one thing that Police Officer Gibbons his retirement is tomorrow. I saw in the chat, and I just wanted to emphasize that if anyone wants to go and wish him well, or just to send him a note, because he really has shown such effort to come in and represent such a positive part of the police.
thank you. Thank you, Michelle. Actually, I was going to make that announcement as well, and I will be there at the 23rd precinct. I'm going to hold off and not do another round of calls. I'm just going to go straight in the announcements. I'm going to come to you, Steph, next. On February 19th, Mayor Adams extended the emergency executive order for an additional 30 days through April 20th, 2023. So Steph, you had an announcement.
Yeah, so yeah, I wanted to bring up the Peter Gibbons thing. It's tomorrow at 6 o'clock at the 23rd precinct. He's worked with us for over 2 decades, great guy, and he's retiring. Also wanted to remind my committee members from District Needs and Budget that we are going to meet April 19th. I just kind of want to do a follow-up of what was done, where, you know, I may have dropped the ball, where we can do better, and just like kind of have a summary of that. So moving on to our next year, we're on a better page.
Thank you, Steph, for clarifying that. So please be responsive to Steph when she reaches out, and also chairs. You will most likely be invited to that. It's good to plug in. And also as a reminder, for the 23rd precinct council meeting will be at Union Settlement. If there are no further announcements, I thank you for your patience and time with all the action items, and I will see you during the next month's meeting. Executive, we will get out the information for next week. Thank you very much. And I'm just going to do a vote of affirmation. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved, Chair.
Second?
Second.
Yes,
So
yes,
moved.
yes, good night.
Afuera.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries.
Pa
Thank you.
casa.